You know, now Chad is he's in a very different profession.
Wow.
Yeah, he's making films without his clothes on.
Yes. JoJo, Jordan, I know you guys are so happy together now. You are one of Bachelor Nation's incredible success stories. But what was it like to relive JoJo's season?
Oh, it was great for me. I think she was dreading. I was loving it because I didn't watch it the first time around. I think I watched like the first episode, maybe a little bit of the second, and I was like, I'm good. I don't need to see it. Now I'm like 4 years in. Let's watch all of it. Let's watch her making out all over the place. I love it.
I got really lucky the first time around. I was like, woo! And now he's just like making fun of me 24/7, so that's good.
Wow. So Jordan, you didn't watch really any of it because that's usually something that Bachelor couples point as kind of a problem once they get off the show is they have to be together in secret, and then rewatching the season and seeing everything that happened can be kind of painful. So you just didn't watch it.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't even see the finale, obviously, because I think that's the final rose when it's live. So I didn't see any of that. So seeing the proposal again and everything, I mean, it was unreal. I didn't necessarily not watch it because I was worried about watching that. You got enough problems.
Yeah, that's very true.
Those first couple months are crazy and a nightmare and so hard. And so we were going through a lot in that moment. So I just didn't need to add to it. You know, we had enough to deal with.
I'm gonna wake up every morning and choose you over and over and over again until you tell me I can't.
Jordan, I love you so much. I've been waiting to tell you that I love you.
You got to watch that proposal moment back. When I was rewatching it, I wrote down great speeches, JoJo and Jordan. Like when you guys look back at what you said to each other, what is it like to watch those words? And did you remember much of it, or were you kind of blacked out?
This is so funny because in my mind, I thought it was like this perfect, like I was super excited and happy, and when we watched it back, Jordan's like, do you see your face? Do you see that like you had this like hesitant like moment? And
I thought it was over. Like her body language is terrible. I say, hi, how you doing? I'm like excited, I'm nervous. She's like, I'm okay. I'm like,
you thought she was about to dump you.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, like she wasn't that excited. I know she just went through a tough, breakup, and it's 120 degrees on the beach, and I'm like, it's over. I guess I'll do my speech anyways in case, but I thought it was over.
But listen, when I watched it back, I didn't realize how nervous I was. Like, I was so nervous, and I can see it in my face. I can see it in every part of me. And so when I watched it, I was like, oh my gosh, I was so nervous. Crazy. Even though like I had the power, which you don't have the power. This is a two-way street here. I was so nervous too, so that was funny.
What was making you so nervous? Did part of you think Jordan might not propose?
I don't know. I just think it's a really big moment, and I think my emotions were just all over the place. Like
you don't like to be hot, and it was really hot on the beach.
Panicking, I was sweating. No, I mean, I think at that point, always leading up to that moment, you never really know. We had conversations. He was ready, but you also really never know. So maybe that was a small factor, but I think more than anything, like. I just was like, my emotions were so crazy. I didn't want to mess up. I don't know, but I was nervous.
So when you guys were watching it back, was there anything else that you had forgotten that you were reminded of, or maybe you remembered differently?
Oh, I have amnesia.
I blacked out that whole thing.
No, you remember a lot of details from the season. I really struggle with remembering so many things, and I think when people ask me, like, what advice would you give to future Bachelor, Bachelorette? And I was like, listen, it's the most amazing time of your life. You'll never be able to go back to that. Journal, write things down, write moments down that really stood out to you. Because when I go back and I try and think about it,
you just forgot our whole love story.
I'm not kidding. Your emotions are so crazy, like you blacked out. So that's one thing I wish I would have done.
It was fun to watch back. Like we both got emotional. Like it was really fun to see that moment again.
Really sweet. I got emotional a few times because it was nice. It's nice to go back and watch us, and like it was 4 years ago, and which seems just like forever, but at the same time, not that long ago. So I don't know. It was a really, really special thing to watch that.
Well, I think it's also that a lot has happened for you guys in 4 years. What moments made you emotional, and did you get to tears?
Oh yeah, what was I telling you? There was one thing that you said that just made me, I can't remember. I love
it. You already forgot.
Yeah.
You know what it was, and talking with producers, I wasn't sure what they were going to show, what they were not going to show, and I remember them telling me there was this moment that like Jordan was speaking about, like at the end of his, you know, when he thought about his future and his wife, he always envisioned somebody, but there was never a face to that person. And now he saw me at the end of that aisle, and I feel like I just got goosebumps again every time he says that. It just like, I don't know, I get emotional, and on top of like having to postpone our wedding, and so I think I just got emotional talking and thinking about it.
Well, I love hearing this because I will tell you, when I spoke to Caitlin and to Ben, not Sean and Catherine, but when I talked to Caitlin and Ben, they were both a lot more gun shy about watching their seasons back.
I was like that when I first heard. I was sick to my stomach. I was like, no, like, I can't see this. Like, Jordan can't see this. And then we talked about it. He's like, it's just, it's
great.
Part of our story, you know? We can look at
we love Ben, so like it was just fun to watch all that.
JoJo, was it, so do you think it was harder for you to watch your own season back or to watch you on Ben Higgins' season back?
Still haven't watched me on Ben's because our cable wasn't working that night. It didn't record, so I was like, well, guess I don't need to watch that.
Save myself from that trauma. Okay, great.
Working that
wasn't working. The DVR, it didn't record.
Oh, so weird. We had to scroll through.
But my dad, he was like, you don't need to see that. It made me so sad. I was like,
your dad said that?
My dad, he was like, yeah, he was like, you always forget like the heartbreak that, you know, your child goes through in that moment. So when he watched Ben's season back, he was like, I was so sad because I saw you so sad. And he's like, and that broke my heart.
Oh.
I was like, Dad, I remember it. We're good.
I was going crazy. I remember watching in the hotel room. We were on lockdown. I was like, yes, let's go.
When I got pumped?
Yeah, because I figured that would mean that you were going to be the...
Oh, you were on a different type of lockdown.
Yes.
Well, they were still waiting to announce the Bachelorette, and because I was a last minute, you know, everyone thought it was Kayla, and so it was a very last minute thing. And he kept saying that like there was so many times he was like, maybe I'll just slide into her DMs and I won't go on to the season. And he's like, I don't know the story.
Yeah, like it's an experience, whether it's her or not. And then I was like, once it was, I was like, yes, okay. Here we go.
And he never slid into my DMs. Never, which I'm so happy about. A little squirmy guy if he would have.
That was, I remember that being like a little bit of a rumor with you guys. Maybe it wasn't DMs, but wasn't it that you had talked before the season?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is not true whatsoever. The only knowledge I had of Jordan was I knew he was going to be on my season because that had been leaked. And so I saw his photo. So I looked at his Instagram, like, I think like a week before my season. I did it. Listen, any guy that I knew was going to be on my season, I was trying to get like the info before my phone got taken away. So that was the only thing I knew of him.
Very
I never
smart.
met him, never talked to him.
All right, we've set the record straight here today. Yeah, do the recon work. Like I know Claire Crawley's doing that right now. How could you not? I have to ask you, what were you thinking about Jordan going in, just kind of knowing that surface level stuff about him?
Yeah.
Just a lot of self-sabotaging happened. I just went in and I was like, you know, I really like this guy after I had met him. Really attracted to him. Just everything felt right. I was like, is this too good to be true? Is this guy a playboy? Like, just all the things in my head. He gave me no reason to think that. But I just started going. And that's the self-sabotage all season. I was like, really like this guy, falling in love with him. But is he like this? But is he like that? But what if this? And what if that? And I was like, you've got to cut that crap out. And you need to trust your gut, trust your heart, trust your instincts. And with him, I always say, like, at that time, I thought it was me taking a risk. Little did I know it was the safest decision I ever would have made in my life.
I went back and looked at the transcription of when I interviewed you at your photo shoot to be the Bachelorette. And I asked you, you know, about the Kayla rumors, and you said, look, I wasn't going to believe it until I heard it from Chris Harrison's mouth that I was the Bachelorette. 100%.
And I think all of us being considered thought, well, there's a good chance it could be me, but there's also not a chance. So yeah, you never jump the gun. You wait it out. You wait till Chris Harrison says it, and then you're good. I think it was like maybe a week before, because I remember once I found out, it was like a race to get all my fittings done and to meet with Carrie, and it was like a really fast process.
So Jordan, what if it had been Kayla?
To me, honestly, that didn't really matter. Like I was late to the party. Like I wasn't in the recruiting process. I got called like 10 days before the show started filming. And Bennett, one of the producers, was like, hey, have you ever watched it? I'm like, nope. He's like, are you single? I'm like, yep. He's like, all right, well, here's what the show is about. I didn't know who Kayla was. I didn't know who JoJo was. I hadn't been watching the season. So I kind of made that decision. I'm like, look, I'm open to finding love. Do I think it's going to happen on a TV show? Probably not, but like it could be an experience. So I kept saying that when I finally realized who it was. I was like, man, I hope it's JoJo.
Because at that point, you went back and watched like 2 episodes.
At that point, I watched like the final 2 episodes. And,
Wow.
And I was just like, you know what? I made this decision before I knew who it was, so I'm just going to do it regardless.
Give it a chance,
and it worked out.
Joelle Hannah Fletcher. Will you marry me?
Oh my God, I
Give me
love
that hand. Give me that hand. Oh, I'm shaking. Let's see if I can get it on.
Oh, I love you.
I love you so much.
How did they find you?
It's a weird story. Like, so I was in sports media, so I was doing college football stuff, and like someone had reached out, a Fox dating show had reached out to my agent saying they wanted an ex-football player, and then they never called back, and someone there knew someone at the Bachelor, and so my name got passed over, and it just...
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow. So when you're watching those final episodes of Ben's season, are you thinking, this guy is letting this woman go?
Yes, and that's why I was like,
Aww.
maybe I'll just slide into DMs right now, which would have been a horrible idea. Horrible. We wouldn't be sitting here.
No, we would. If I would have found that, I'm like, you're going home. That is squirmy.
Which, by the way, that's kind of a thing in Bachelor Nation the past couple years, like on Paradise especially a couple years ago, was the issue of people getting into each other's DMs beforehand. It sounds like you guys do not advise that.
I don't advise.
No.
I got to bring up Ben for a minute because they are airing your seasons back-to-back weeks. And of course, Ben infamously said, I love you to 2 women.
I love you, and I know right now that doesn't feel like it should when I tell you that.
But you love her too.
He told me that one of his regrets, he said, was saying I love you to you. And I'd actually never heard him say that before, that it was a regret of his. I think he, of course, meant it just because he felt like he ended up causing hurt and making things messy. What do you think? Should he have said that to you? Do you wish he had not?
Oh, I mean, and looking back, of course, I think that the heartbreak was even harder and worse knowing that this person had said, that Ben had said, I love you and I couldn't live my life without you. You're my best friend. Because I think you have this expectation, and this hearing those things makes you think, how could it be anyone else? So I think it definitely made it harder. I don't fault him. I'm not mad that he said it. I think that he was very honest in his feelings in that moment. Would it have made it easier? Probably a little bit for me, and probably for him, for Lauren, things probably would have been very different with how things were handled afterwards. But listen, we do the best that we can in these situations. And I even told Ben this, right after that happened. I was like, listen, after going through it myself, like, I have so much more respect for you.
Yeah.
Because at the time I couldn't understand how you could do that, but I get it. No one will ever understand it. You don't know how to prepare for it. You do the best you can, and you got to give yourself a little bit of grace. So yeah, I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
If he regrets it, I mean, whatever, you know what I mean? We all do the best we can. It would have made it easier though if I did think that.
Set up for a great breakup though. I mean, it's really segued right into the drama that we wanted.
Yeah,
So.
it was great TV.
Jordan, thank you for being so producer-minded, even at the expense of JoJo's emotions.
Yeah.
Ben actually also told me, him and Lauren, there were rumors about them struggling, especially because he'd said those 2 I love yous, and then they broke up. And Ben said that looking back, he thinks throughout their first year, him and Lauren were probably kind of looking for an out. And you guys had mentioned tough times right after the show. Was there ever a moment, especially during that first year, when you 2 thought we might not make it?
100%.
Many moments. And I think it's easy to try to look for an out, because you're like, you can simplify it as, we met on a TV show, like it was just by chance, like it was a fairy tale and it's not real life. I mean, there's a million excuses you can bring up. And there was a moment, like a year in?
Yeah,
we had
that
been
first year
through
was
crazy ups and downs, bad fights, arguments. And then we just kind of sat down and we were like just broken, and we're like, we love each other, but that doesn't mean that this is going to work out. And there was kind of 1 or 2 ways we could go. And we decided right there to put our foot down and be better. And it was not easy.
Yeah.
It's still growth from that moment on, but it's tough. It's a tough world to be thrown into, because you're getting to know somebody while you're in a huge spotlight.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, any couple that comes out of this, that first year, it's the hardest, and it's the easiest, I think, to walk away from, because like he said, there's so many excuses, but yeah. I get it. It was so tough, and you know, I'm so glad like we got through it. Like I can't even tell you, there was, and I brought this up to Jordan yesterday. Yesterday I was like, think about it. There were so many moments where we could have parted ways and we wouldn't be here now. We have such a beautiful life and family together, and our dogs. It's my and everyone.
Is there news?
Right. But it's amazing. Like if you work together and you work on those things, and if you love each other, you can get through it. But one decision can change the whole course of your life. And so it's just crazy to think about.
Well, just because that is such a good relationship lesson for people, I guess I would ask you guys, what were the things causing those major ups and downs, and what did you do to move past that time when you decided to?
I think in the beginning, the biggest thing for me was there were so many rumors going on after the show about Jordan, and obviously I was never used to the media and tabloids, and like I didn't understand that world at all, and so that was a lot of pressure on me. And then you start doubting, like, do I really know this person? What's true? What's not true? And then that causes friction between your relationship, because you're supposed to be each other's like rock and support. And so that rolled into really bad communication between the two of us. We didn't know how to communicate with each other. We have very different styles. And so it was just like one thing on top of the other, on top of the other. And I mean, at that point, we could fight about anything that first year. Anything. Because
Wow.
it was just so much. I'm sure he had sort of resentment. I had resentment. There was just a lot.
You don't ever get to have conflict on the show. You really don't. You may have a little bit, but you never learn how to fight.
Yeah.
Anybody that's in a relationship knows that you need to know how to navigate relationships in conflict and what your partner needs and how they need to communicate. We did not know how to do that. And we were on different worlds of how we handled that. And it just didn't work. And so we had to learn how to do that.
It's something that, like we said, there was that one moment that I think was a really big breakthrough where we were both broken and upset, and we just looked at each other like, we're making this promise to each other. We love each other and we want it to work. We have to both work towards it. And I think it was just that conscious decision every time that we got into an argument, taking a step back, and yes, we love each other, but we also need to respect each other.
Yeah.
And so just really focusing on that. And to this day, we still, like, listen, nothing's perfect. Yeah. There are moments where we'll be discussing or arguing about something like, okay, this is when we need to take our moment. We need to, So it's always going to be work. And I think that that's what makes relationships last, though.
Well, what was it that made you guys hold on? Just that love, that gut instinct?
Yeah. I think it was. I think you look back to all the good moments and you could chalk it up to a TV show if you want. But I think we both realized that there was something extremely real, and that at the core of it, we were best friends and we were the best thing for each other, despite all the outside noise and the arguments and the ups and downs that come along with a new relationship, especially one like this. So it was just coming back and understanding that we make each other better. We're best friends. And if we have that, then we can get through whatever this crap is.
Well, JoJo, I went back again and looked at the photo shoot interview. You say you know what you want. What qualities are you looking for?
Oh gosh, I mean, I have a whole list of things that I would want, but honestly, I would just want someone who is genuine and makes me laugh and is my best friend.
That is him. I found him. Yeah, and it's as simple as that, but it's very hard to find,
I know. I always think you hear people say a lot, I just want somebody who I can like have a conversation with, which sounds so simple, but it's such a it's like, no, you really are looking for that person who you can always talk to. I think you always had, and I want to hear from you, but you always seem to have this gut feeling about Jordan. I also interviewed you on your firefighter date and asked you who your 3 front runners were. And you said, Jordan, named him first. And then you did say Luke and Robbie. So I guess you seem like somebody who operates off of gut instinct.
Wow, pretty good gut instinct there. Yeah, and I don't know what it is. I think that sometimes when you meet somebody, I think the biggest thing with Jordan, I had a lot of really handsome guys on my season, right? There was a lot of good-looking men. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I was attracted to Jordan, but the thing that stood out to me the most is I was very comfortable with him. And I was very nervous that first night with everything about that first night, first week, month. I was nervous. there was a sense of peace when I spoke to him. Even though I had like the butterflies and stuff, there was this weird sense of just like comfort. And I thought that was just so rare, and it really stood out to me.
And we saw you guys have your first kiss. What was it like to watch that back?
It was
That was funny because I wanted to do it the first time around, and then like, I don't know why, I was just like overwhelmed by the whole TV thing and cameras and people around, and then I got off our little mini date that first night, and I was like, man, I should have kissed her. And then I'm like, one of the producers is like, you can, I mean, if you want to, you can see her again.
Go do it.
Okay. It's like now?
And I told myself I wasn't going to kiss anybody that first night. No, that's it.
That kiss was amazing. I'm hoping to get a few more of those.
Glad you went with it?
Honestly, I look so young, and I look so nervous every time I talk about anything. I just went with it, Lauren. Just went with it.
You doing good?
Yeah.
Got lipstick on you.
I remember that day you were like, even I asked you who your front runners were, and I remember you stopped and you turned to the producer and you're like, can I answer that?
You just don't know anything.
What am I allowed to say?
Can I say I love you?
Of course, as he was called, Bad Chad. Jordan, you and Bad Chad, things came to a head with you two. JoJo, looking back, how did Chad stay around as long as he did?
Yeah.
The truthful answer? No, I'm just kidding. Listen, everyone knew that Chad was the drama of the season. And I think producers knew that. I think that obviously when you have a villain, you know that they're gonna last a little bit longer than they should. However, I will say that I really did give Chad the benefit of the doubt. You know, he was going through some family stuff before he came in. He had a story, and there was a part of me that was like, he's dealing with something, and like, I don't understand it. I'll never be able to understand what he's going through, but I had this soft spot for him because I felt like I was getting to know the real Chad. I didn't know the stuff behind.
You didn't get to see what we did.
I didn't get to see that, you know? So I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I just knew what he was going through. And so for a while, you know, I just kept trying, and then once I started to hear all the things, I was like, listen, at some point it's enough. And that was the moment that I said goodbye. But you always give people the benefit of the doubt, you know? You try to. I had no clue, but I will say when I found out, and even a producer brought this up to me, he's like, do you remember when Alex told you there was drama in the house and it was with Jordan? And then the switch flipped, like, Jordan? Oh no. So,
Oh, I love it. You went into mama bear mode. You're like, not my man.
Oh, yeah.
Not my number one front runner.
Yeah, it's my man.
Oh, he gone.
That did seem like the turning point.
Crazy.
Looking
back at all the Chad stuff, it's just wild.
We see that on camera. You confront Chad and say, you were coming at Jordan. Like, it looks like you went a little blind for a moment there. Like, that was a turning point.
Wow. I get your back. Yeah, I don't know. It was time. It was time to go then at that point.
You know, now Chad is he's in a very different profession.
Wow.
Yeah, he's making films without his clothes on.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
I will say I did not see that coming. No.
It doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't
I don't know
surprise
if I
me.
would have guessed it, but it doesn't surprise me.
Okay. You really did have such a great season of Guys, JoJo. I mean, you watch it back and you're like, there's Derek and Evan. And is that kind of part of the joy of watching it, is that it's these people who, many of whom, by the way, have found other new relationships and are happy.
yeah. Oh, I had a great group of guys. I love all of them. They're also happy now, too, for the most part. You know what I mean? I love that Wells is with Sarah and Evan's with Carly, and like everyone has kind of found their path and they're happy. And I got lucky. I got really lucky. These guys are awesome. I had such a fun time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They all became my friends at the end of the day. So I love that about the whole experience.
I forgot how much Wells couldn't kiss you. And you were so supportive. He kissed you and you said, that was the moment. Good job, Wells.
Which was probably the worst thing I could have said.
Makes it so much worse.
So much worse. But like, I loved Wells. Like, he was my buddy. Like, I knew that it was time that I had to say goodbye because it just wasn't romantic. But he was like, I always had fun with. And
I was rooting for her to keep Wells around.
I thought the same thing about Vinny too.
Yeah.
Vinny was my buddy.
We had a good group.
Oh, Vinny didn't get a lot of airtime on the look back. I forgot about Vinny. He was great.
Oh, love Vinny.
Yes. What do you think you'll tell is kind of your favorite moment from your love story on your season?
Ooh, favorite moment. I think.
I know.
You know?
Well, I know for me. I'm not gonna speak for you.
I love looking back. There was something special about our first one-on-one date in Uruguay. Not to mention that we were on a red eye and had about 2 hours of sleep. But our trip to Mendoza, I feel like, was a big turning point for me as well. Like, we were stomping grapes. We got to take a private plane there, so we got a lot of like time that wasn't on camera, which is valuable. Like to talk and feel like it's real. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, like, my favorite thing, like, looking back, is noticing the breakthrough moments with us.
Yeah.
You know, because I think that there were nerves on his end and my end. I'm sure we both go in with a little bit of a wall up because you don't know what to expect. But when you watch back and you see different moments, there's these breakthrough moments where I see him, those walls just totally come down and he gets really vulnerable. And I'm like, now I'm getting into like really Jordan and what he's feeling. So there was a couple moments in Nemacolin and where was when we were dancing in the white dress?
Buenos Aires.
Buenos Aires. There were moments where there were big breakthrough moments that just really
One of the best moments, Lauren, that didn't make camera was in the hometowns. I was trying to pass JoJo these notes, which is off limits. You're not allowed to like communicate off camera. So somehow I tried to pass her the notes and someone found out. And so Bennett, one of the producers, got the notes and he's like, hey, give her these on camera. And I'm like, let me see her later off camera. And so we had this little deal. And so after our interviews after hometown, we didn't get any alone time, but there was like us in sweats eating in and out with like producers and no cameras. And we just sit on a hotel room floor eating in and out. And I was like,
that's my girl.
She's pretty cool. Crushing some hamburgers. I like it.
I literally wrote down as I was watching it back, one of my notes was, their relationship seems real. And I mean that to just say, like, when you're, JoJo, when you're talking about, you know, kind of wanting to make sure your heart's not going to get broken because Ben told you these things and is Jordan real? I felt like I was watching a real kind of challenging conversation on a date. And when you guys had that first kiss, and I think you pull back and you say, I feel really comfortable with you, you see the real connection. I mean, how real, even though you were filming a TV show and you were about to start it all, but that first night, that first kiss, how real did things feel to you?
So real, which is crazy because I'm there with, you know, 30 guys or however many, I can't even remember, but it's like in that moment, I forgot that anyone else was involved. Or that I was even on night one of The Bachelorette. Yeah. You know, you forget those things. I forgot that in that moment. And so that was like huge to me. I was like, whoa. Like, it was such just a very just gentle, normal kiss, nothing like crazy. But
no tongue, you know, it was night one. I didn't want to get too crazy.
Kept it respectful.
Yeah.
Very respectful.
Classy guy.
I do want to ask, of course, about your wedding and your engagement. Jordan, you did end up re-proposing with a different ring. Why was that important for you to do? And did you think, was it kind of interesting to watch the original proposal now knowing that you did it again?
Yes. And oh gosh, the second proposal was everything that every guy goes through. Nothing's set up. It's not scripted. It's not beautiful and perfect. I always wanted to, though. I think not to take away from our first proposal, but I always wanted to buy my own ring. Something that we had more time to think about, or I knew her better to know exactly what she wanted. And I wanted to do something that was just us. So there was no cameras, there was no professional photographer. We were under the guise of touring a venue for a wedding, which I knew that wasn't going to be the venue. I made sure that wasn't. And I told the lady that was showing us, I was like, hey, if you see anything, just pull out your phone and just so we have this one shaky little video. JoJo had no idea what was happening. Her hair wasn't done. She's like, I look terrible. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, I just wanted something that was just us and something that we could call just ours, even though the first one was as real as anything and so special, but still.
No glam team on that one, JoJo.
Oh no, sister, far from it.
How much time did you spend picking out the first ring versus the second ring?
The first ring was really easy. I mean, you get like 5 or 6 options, and right away I'm like, that one. Of course, they're like, well, you know, make it look like you're a little harder to decide. And then the second one, I mean, I I pretty much knew her so well at that point. I knew exactly what she wanted. And actually we had talked about maybe we should reset your old ring. And so I was kind of picking her brain under that lie.
You were very tricky with this whole thing.
I was.
Wow.
So I felt really good about it. And it was an easy decision.
Oh, and so you guys were supposed to get married. You posted about it. That date has come and gone. I know that you guys are down to earth enough people to have the perspective of like, okay, there are worse things, but it's your wedding and you put all this time into it and you've been together for years. Just emotionally, what was it like to kind of see that day come and go?
There was a few moments where when we were considering the option of maybe do we have to postpone, that I was bummed out and I was like, oh, I don't know. Because I knew that like pushing it to fall wasn't going to be an option. So I knew if it wasn't going to happen in June, it was going to have to be next year. Because football season, he works 24/7. So the realization of, oh, it's not just gonna be a few months push, it's gonna be an entire year, that kind of bummed me out. But at the end of the day, I mean, we want that day to be exactly what we want. We want our guests and our family and our friends to feel safe and comfortable. And it just did not feel right whatsoever to sort of roll the dice on that. And hey, look, the good thing is that we have everything planned already. Yeah. So now it's stress-free leading up to it. Like, we're good.
I was going to say, is it, and I don't know, I mean, many people have had to reschedule, but are you guys just doing everything you were going to do in a year? You're not changing anything? Okay.
I mean, unless, I think the only thing
I don't trust her. I don't trust her with the whole dress.
The dress thing.
As soon as she made the decision, the final allegedly decision, she's still on, Instagram going, oh, this is pretty. Like, and I'm like, stop looking at things.
I know.
Like,
styles are going to change.
I know.
I love my dress. I can't foresee finding anything better, but you have a whole year. So we'll see.
Well, and by the way, I mean, I don't know if it's also like, what are you going to do for the next year? Have you guys talked about what does this next year, now that you do have this kind of extra time, look like? I know you've moved into your house and you love your dogs. Like, what does the next year look like for you two?
I think just work as usual. Jordan's going back to football. That's getting ready to start back up. And we're always looking for new remodel or renovation or new build projects. So we're really going to continue to work on that. And just, I think life is normal. We never really know what we're getting into in a year. I mean, we're all over the place, but working, staying healthy and mentally healthy.
We added a family member during the quarantine.
Yes.
We got a new puppy and we're like, well, since we got to wait a year for the wedding and we're home 24/7, we added to the family. So we got another little puppy about a month ago.
Yeah.
Do you just go for it and try to have kids, and then the wedding dress is a beautiful maternity wedding dress?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so, no.
But I did say, I was like, hey, we got a year. That means, 9 months. You have a couple months to get back in shape. Like, it's perfect.
Jordan jokes about this, first off. I don't think that's the truth. No, I think that we're going to be just active.
Wedding will be first.
Wedding first, yeah.